Hello everyone, my name is Matt Scorpion and welcome back to The Reset. Now, after seeing the name of Nacho Man Randy Cabbage across my screen, I'm already thinking it's a good week in Destiny. So, when you actually pop out in a few things, there is a bunch of stuff going on currently. As visual, Iron Banner is back on for the last time this season. I will re-specify the last time this season. If there's anything you need that is gear-wise leaving at the end of the season, which if I recall will actually be Hero's Burden and Wizened Rebuke. That's just my memory. I don't think that's for certain. But if there's anything you want to get your hands on, shader, emblem, anything that is unique to this season regarding Iron Banner, get it while you can, because the season will be ending relatively soon, and this will, of course, be the last week Iron Banner is available in the entire season. On that note, speaking of which, Iron Banner, now going throughout the world. I will continue it forward going at. But starting with the Nightfall this week, it is currently on Neomuna for the Hypernet Current Strike. Now, this one is, I'm not going to lie, a bit of a bastard. It was a little scurry, but did manage to do it in, I think, one or two tries. There's just one or two problem moments. So, going through it on Grandmaster, a little bit annoying. In terms of your modifiers, you have all three shields to deal with. Overload and Unstoppable Champions, because taken. Arc Threat increased incoming damage. Grandmaster modifiers, the usual Extinguish, Limited Revives. Epitaph for taking combatants generating Blight Guys when defeated. That's honestly really annoying and hard to deal with. Be careful. They also Chaff for no radar and the usual overcharged weapons of artifact weapons, and then Solar Surge, Strand Surge, and overcharged grenade launchers. And I believe that includes heavy and special, so specify accordingly. Now, if you actually go through it, of course, the available reward this week, if you want to visit Zavala to guarantee it, but you will notice it is currently the Wendigo GL3, including its Adept form. So, if you want to actually get your hands on that, that is still going to be in rotation, so it's not the last time you have a chance for it, it's just the last time this season. So, going forward, there's probably going to be a Malicious Birthright somewhere in the rotation that'll probably be up and coming, but like I said before, Malicious is the last thing that is out of rotation after this. Wendigo is currently going to be back in rotation after the season, so you'll have more chances after this week in case you don't think you're capable of doing the Hypernet Current Strike. Then, on that same note, in terms of the rest of the world, there's nothing new in Gambit, because Gambit is dead, and then in terms of Crucible, we have Mayhem for our rotation matches in that playlist. And in terms of Iron Banner, it is currently Iron Banner Fortress, because, if you didn't know, it is rotating 3 different modes: Iron Banner Control, Iron Banner Eruption, and now Iron Banner Fortress. So if you actually want to get your hands on that, that is currently active mode, in case you have any challenges or otherwise. Now, if you actually check back with the Vanguard, currently it is the double rank booster for the Vanguard, so if you need to grind out any sort of rankings or anything, go ahead and do that while you can, solo or with a team, depends on who wants to hang out with you. Then, going into the rest of the world, then we got, for our raid rotations, on top of the pinnacle stuff, for our dungeon is currently Shadowed Throne for our current farmable thing. Now, it's hard to actually endorse farming this, considering the drops from it are just Dreaming City weapons, which can drop from anywhere. This might be the best source, but then again, it's also a dungeon, so unless you're a hardcore guy, you're probably not doing it a lot. Then in terms of our rotation farming raid, it is currently Deepstone Crypt, which, ooh la la. All challenges are currently active. If you wish to farm the raid itself, there you go. There's, of course, the red chest, but, of course, the Atrax challenge and Core 4 challenge. Pretty easy to farm in case you wanted to do that and get your hands on some drops. But, of course, it's Deepstone Crypt. It's pretty easy to do. Just got to sort of specify for yourself. Then, going throughout the raid start to finish for Last Wish. Current active challenge is Witch, which I forget which witch is that. That was a tongue twister. And then, in terms of everything else, in terms of the moon, for Garden of Salvation, current active challenge is Linked to the Chain, which, if I recall, is first encounter challenge. Then, from there, it's Crypt, which we already did. But then, into the other two for our rotations, we have Vault of Glass currently, which is Out of Its Way challenge, which I think, if I recall... No, wait, hang on. I think that's Gatekeeper. No, that's Gatekeeper challenge. Yeah, basically got to keep kill Gatekeeper before letting it teleport. I completely forgot that one. And in terms of King's Fall, it is Devious Thievery challenge as well. And then in terms of the last one or two, rotation is going all the way around for Neomuna, so that's that. But we have Base Information challenge, which is basically second encounter challenge during Caretaker, where you cannot take more than one of the bloopers from the room. And then in terms of Neomuna, it is currently first encounter challenge, which is basically you can only kill the tormentors in the first encounter while you have the Field of Light buff. It's not that hard. Master mode is a little bit annoying and available for master mode as well. It is, I believe, well, it's hard to say. Last week it was Adept Michael's Revenge, or Michael's Vengeance, or whatever the sidearm is. If it's something different, then keep in mind then this will be on a rotation, so weapons will actually regularly rotate in and out. So on that note, keep an eye on that. Now, that is everything in terms of raids and rotation challenges. Now, going in throughout the rest of the seasonal stuff and the world. So, on Neomuna, it is currently the Vex Incursion Zone in Himza Park with the Partition Ordnance quest, which this one is really annoying. Sam is annoying. In case Bungie is not listening, Sam is incredibly annoying. In terms of our weekly mission reset as well, we have No Time Left, which is basically the Rohan Dies mission. Spoiler, in case you're behind. But then into the rest of the seasonal stuff, we have for Eternity in terms of our Dares of Eternity rotation. We have for Legend mode, let's see, Fallen Hive and Zydron. So that's that. Now going into, like I said, seasonal stuff, for our rotation on the Defiant Battlegrounds, it is currently in the Cosmodrome, which I believe there will be at least one more rotation in and out throughout the world, which if you don't, you'll have to start working on the seal, or at least this part of the seal for completing each Defiant Battlegrounds in another season. It won't lock up, but it'll be weird, because, you know, out of season. But then, in terms of our modifiers, we have Incoming Arc Threat, Overload, and Unstoppable Champions, and Solar and Strand Surge with Overcharged Machine Gun. Now, speaking of seasonal, we have one of our last sets of challenges. We'll have one more week of challenges before they die. Going from top to bottom, we have Legend Defiance, which is completing any Defiant Battlegrounds in Legendary difficulty. You have to do that twice. We also have Favored Warrior, which is defeating targets in a certain way to spawn the Favors of Grace, Zeal, and Justice during any Season of Defiance activity. Bonus progress towards any favors earned during activities on Legend difficulty. Which, if you don't want to do the Defiant Battlegrounds over and over again, and you wanted to farm something, you could just do the Avalon mission and do one of the areas that have infinite spawning enemies. But, you know, there's that. You also have Defiant Specialist, which is defeating combatants with precision final blows and seasonal activities. Bonus progress awarded using Season of Defiance weapons. These are Perpetualis, Prodigal Return, Regnant, Caretaker, Recateur, and Royal Executioner. And then essentially reaching Pinnacle Cap, which if you don't know what that means specifically, it's making so that every single piece of gear in your weapons and armor slots are all 1810 power themselves. The artifact power does not matter. Whatever your cumulative power does not matter. It has to be all of your gear to finish that one challenge. And then you have the playlist activities, which is Warp and Weft, which in Gambit, defeating targets with a Strand, Solar, or Void class equipped. Bonus progress defeating Guardians and ability and Guardians. And we also have Weaving Sunlight, which is defeating combatants in a Vanguard playlist with Strand, Solar, or Void subclass equipped. Bonus progress for ability final blows, and then armory-wide calibration, which is basically using all three of your weapon slots. Bonus progress if you use them against champion. That is all of the seasonal challenges here. Now, the seasonal wrap-up has happened, so if you got access to all of that, of course, that will be it. But I doubt we'll be seeing any more seasonal development until the actual season develops into the next season. So keep your eyes open. Then, in terms of weapons on the front page, we have Whispering Slab, a lightweight kinetic bow from Seasonal Arrivals. Not gonna lie, this one is a pretty dog roll, but at the same time, there is better rolls to keep an eye out for it. It's not that bad of a bow, I just never got into the surfboard. And you also have Judgment of Kelgaroth and Aggressive Frame Glaive, which this is a pretty solid roll here, still craftable. And I'll reconcile, or that's not the right word, I will remind everyone, Aztecross put out a video of this, so I will continue to spread the message. When Manual Deep Sight Equip happens, that means you'll be able to enable a red border on anything that can get a red border. So weapons like Judgment of Kelgaroth, which no longer drop red border, but are craftable, can be earned and manually made that. If you want to stockpile some of these weapons in your vaults to be able to do that, I would recommend it. Then in terms of his next page, wait, did I get through everything? Oh, no, I didn't. Then we have Cold Denial, a high impact frame pulse rifle from Season of Arrivals as well. Now, I personally like this pulse rifle, especially in a role like that, but it's hard to say. Other people would go for something more aggressive and supposed passive. Then we also have Farewell, which is a lightweight frame kinetic sidearm from Seasonal Splicer, which, you know, it's a sidearm, so use as discretion. Then we have the last of the Crown Splitters, which, I'm not gonna lie, this roll is pretty solid, although missing Jagged Blade, it makes it kind of rough. But if you wanted the last of the, let's say, aggressive frame swords that are void, as they should be, yeah, no, this is the way. So if any of your class swords you want the original version, granted without an origin trait or updated perks, that is how you can get an access to it on all 3 characters. And into the main store for the everything else, we have Legal Action 2, a high-impact frame pulse rifle, which I personally enjoy. But this roll, man, that does not look great for Crucible. Although for, actually no, that doesn't look great for anywhere. Then we have Lunalato 4B, which is a very similar case of Stasis Bow that is great. Of course, Vice, so I have no idea how much it actually performs in comparison. Shoot to Loot will be improved next season, but it's hard to say whether or not it's still worth a perk. Adrenaline Junkie, still possibly great, but in terms of weird builds, who knows. Kantata 57, which, I'm not gonna lie, I think this might be OP. Arrowhead Break for the recoil, Extended Mag for the rounds, Eye of the Storm for more stability and handling, and Opening Shot for the boost in range masterwork. This seems about how to get all the way there with a average frame hand cannon. We must have the Redback 5SI, which is another sidearm. Moving on. Memory Interdict with a roll that's, I'm not gonna lie, it's hard to advocate for this. I want to like this one because it has some good options. Spike grenades are always great, but surplus, I know a lot of people will prefer other things than that. Something to expand the mag size. And speaking of which, we also have Typhon GL5, which I'm not even going to save the roll because that's just terrible. I just wish this one was craftable because there's many great rolls on this one. Stasis, so it actually works pretty well in that form, but generally does not work so well. So, for our variety, we have some new, some old. We have the Midnight Exigent, which is from Season of the Worthy, Season 10. This was a set to go with the weapons that came out at the time, which, in terms of Root of Nightmares gear, I'm having trouble hating that. But in terms of a Bind Leap and some other things, I actually kind of like how that looks too. If I want to look like a Dark Bumblebee, I'll have to go for it. We have Kairos Bronze from Mercury back during Season of Osiris, which, per the usual in Root gear, it doesn't look that great. It just is dark. But then in terms of other gear, it actually has some pretty solid look to it. So if you wanted to literally look like, let's just say the Vex from Mercury, there you go. And we also have Dead Orbit Vision from Season of the Warmind, which is an old Dead Orbit set, which is, per the usual, black and white, but this time they actually added a bit of green in there. So if you wish to look Dead Orbit as they did in their last relevant season, there you go, there's that. And with that, that is everything that happened with Reset. Now, I know it's a bit late in the video, but I definitely recommend checking out Eververse. I will, of course, have my Associate Eververse video available to go for it, but I'm not going to lie. It is completely stocked this time around. Like, there is all of the good things. If you had Bright Dust you were saving, spend it now. On that note, my name is Matt Scorpion. I will see you in the next video.